mean, about the war itself?
Oh, well, you weren't really sure because it was still going on at that time, you know, right? And it was very difficult to talk about it. But the South Korean helped me at the time I got wounded, you know. And the guy was very good, and I didn't even know his name, and I didn't find out because he as soon as he got me back, he took off. So I don't know what happened.
How'd you get wounded?
I got with a mortar. Mortar landed on a commander who was standing on the field, right near me. I guess just about maybe 100 feet or so forth, and a round hit him in the head.
Oh, jeez.
And it blew me into a hole. So that's what happened.
What was your feeling about MacArthur?
I never met him.
But you know, when Truman took him away,
yeah.
what was your?
Oh well, I didn't. When Truman took him away, we were sort of disappointed, you know, about what happened there. But he was. I mean, he was in World War II, and he had great experience and so forth. But he was above it all.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we felt anyway.
How about you? After seeing what happened, was it worth it?
That's a tough question. You think about the 58,000 plus who gave their lives.
Yeah.
And you wonder, was it worth it?
That's the point.
It doesn't seem much has changed. I'm sure Don feels the same way about Korea. You fought, and now you're back to the original starting line, and it's the North is the North and the South is the South, and it's, you know, we participated in the Civil War pretty much. And it's funny, I speak to people today who visit Vietnam, and they love seeing the Americans, and everything's fine, and you know, they love the Yankee dollar, and, you know, but I can't imagine for some. I know some people who were Army, Marine Corps type, you know, in-country veterans. They go back and they have a very good experience. I guess it's helping them to put the devil to bed, so to speak. You know.
I mean, with us, World War II was such a different war. It's a war that we fought. We knew we were fighting. We knew why we were fighting. And it was a whole different perspective. And yeah, you wanted to save your life, and that was the main thing. But it also with your buddies, and it was peers. Everybody was in it. It was the entire country was fighting with that war.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And I don't think that was so with Vietnam.
No.
Or Korea.
No, it wasn't.
And this is why I'd wanted to find out, really, what do the veterans of those wars feel about that the people weren't with you with then? How did you feel about it?
I remember coming home, and there would be days where you're supposed to drive with your lights on if you supported the war or you didn't. And there were rallies, pro and con, and you pretty much heard the worst of it. And towards the end, they were picking on more of the veterans themselves than the actual people that were, say, sponsoring the war.
Yeah.
They, you know, the vile names that the veterans were called, the so-called atrocities, 99% of that never happened. It was all blown out. A lot of the movies that came out back then about all kinds of craziness, it never happened. The big stories about all the drugs, that I know I never saw it on the ship. Now, guys that were in country I've spoke to, and they say, there might have been a guy here and there, but you got rid of him quickly, you sent him back because you couldn't trust him on the line. And we couldn't trust anyone like that was, you know, stoned or drinking or anything else on a carrier. You had to make moves quick or everybody's life was on the line.
Yeah. I know we had a tail gunner who wasn't on drugs. He just fell asleep while we were on a flying. And we got rid of him fast. Because when he's asleep, you have to go back and check on everybody in the crew. So somebody had to go back, put on portable oxygen, go back and check to see whether he's alive. It's crazy. So,
Yeah,
I mean, this is what happens there.
Right.
And yours is the same kind of thing?
Yeah, I was at age 19 when I got finished there, right, at that point. And that was, and so I was really surprised at some of what I learned about there was no feeling really for the Korean War. I mean, people didn't really care, what was going on. They didn't know anything really about it or what was happening.
But there was no draft.
No, there was no draft at that
That's the big difference. You had a draft, I had a draft, you didn't.
time. Right.
And that's the difference. Today, if they had a draft, would there be a thing going on? Different?
That's a tough question. It depends who got the deferments.
Yeah.
You know?
But the country would have been involved in the draft.
Well, true. We had the draft during the Vietnam War, and there were a lot of deferments, so a lot of people
Yeah.
didn't go, and they just formed their opinions from what they saw in the nightly news.
Yeah. Well, I think that this is a beginning for us to try and get something done. I'd like to say that, from my point of view, this has been interesting. I'd like to see what would happen with Afghanistan veterans and Desert War and Iraq, and see how they feel about their participation, of what's going on now, how they would feel about it, and whether they're learning anything. I got nothing from that, except after I finished my missions, they sent me to Harvard to Statistical Control School, if I can even say the word. And that helped in just in perspective, because it tells you what to expect and how to set your probabilities. But other than that, I thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's been an exciting experience.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's it for today.